It's your boy Smack like damn, and I'm gonna just hop right into it. NASCAR. Got few things to talk about. So yesterday, NASCAR set to debut new rules and package for short tracks and road courses. Okay. Uh, let's see what we got here. It says NASCAR will debut a new aerodynamic rules package for the NASCAR Cup Series in March at Phoenix Road Raceway. Aim to enhance the racing product at short ovals and road courses, the sanctioning body announced on Tuesday. Hold on. You got to drink some of this good hot tea. Y'all see it? Y'all can get y'all's too. Had to do the quick merch. That's some good tea. That's some good stuff. Good right there. All right, the package features slight modifications to the next gen car that significantly decrease the downforce created by the vehicles. This configuration will be utilized at all tracks where wet weather equipment will be required. Charlotte Roval, Chicago Street Course, can't wait for that one. Circuit of Americas, aka COTA, Indianapolis Motor Speedway Road Course, that Martinsville, New Hampshire, North Wilkesboro, Phoenix, Richmond, Sonoma, and Watkins Glen. Chief among the changes are a 2-inch rear spoiler, a reduction from the current 4-inch blade on the rear deck lid, in addition to several tweaks underneath the car. Those include the removal of 3 different strakes, engine panel strakes, and trimming the diffuser's outer fencing. All changes were run together during the second day of a January test at Phoenix. That basically adds up to about 30% downforce reduction. Dr. Eric Jacuzzi, to me, that's a dope last name, Jacuzzi, told NASCAR.com. We're now in a downforce level we haven't been at since pre-2000s for sure, mid-90s. Woo! Woo! That's before I was even really watching NASCAR, you know what I'm saying? It's not like that. Much of the direction of these changes was inspired by the Garage 56 program, a project NASCAR, Hendrick Motorsports, Chevrolet, and Goodyear are working closely on to compete at the 24 Hours of Le Mans. That's going to be dope. The first day of Phoenix testing earlier this year saw 3 different packages with that inspiration, but none of these combinations did enough to warrant any change from the original product. We put our heads together and we came up with a greatly reduced downforce package, Jacuzzi said, because one of the things that drivers kept saying was that the car, there's so much tire grip, the brakes are so good. So we said, let's really just take a big swing at this and see if we can solicit a reaction almost out of them. Teams were alerted of the new alterations the next morning, began setting up the adjustments over the next 2 hours. Through single car and simulated mock race runs, a breakthrough was finally made. In those 2 races, definitely the cars were noticeably tighter together, Jacuzzi said. They didn't spread out as far, and some of the drivers commented that they were really sliding around a lot, and they feel that the more kind of out of control the car is, the more real estate on the track becomes available to them to use. Yeah, that makes sense. So you're not super tight. A lot of people like their sets kind of, from what I see, loose instead of tight, because tight puts you in a box. So that was kind of the feedback that led us to moving forward with this package. Jacuzzi reiterated drivers were a key part of the conversation as testing continued, which is smart. They're the one driving the car. Affirming the changes were going in the right direction. I don't want to speak for them. Just anecdotally, when they said at the test in our debrief meeting, was it felt more like a race car, Jacuzzi said. Definitely wasn't as planted, more able to move around and use all the tracks. So, a net positive. Of course, some people were a little more hesitant, but the difficulty in those tests is you're really making big changes and you don't have infinite practice time. So, it tends to be people who aren't maybe running well at the test don't like it. Obviously, because you don't want to be running around the back. But I think given enough time to adapt to things and have some prep time, they will be able to respond just like any other weekend. However, there was another element tested at Phoenix: mufflers. Only the Clash at the LA Memorial Coliseum, which I can't wait to go to. I gotta catch one. I gotta. I love LA. I love the city. I gotta go out there to catch the Clash one year. And the Chicago Street Course, gotta go there too. Will feature mufflers this season, meaning the removal of the mufflers alters the aerodynamics a bit more. With that in mind, NASCAR took the new rules package into the wind tunnel on February 13 to confirm what was learned at the test and ensure the same desired impacts will be produced in later competitions. Ultimately, NASCAR's competition team saw significant improvement in parity and racing quality on intermediate tracks in 2022, the next gen vehicle's debut season. But the same couldn't be said for its short tracks or road courses. We'd seen such great racing at the intermediates, Jacuzzi said, and then the road courses and the short tracks lacked some of the action we expected. Y'all remember last year in Martinsville when they was putting them cars and all them cars was messing up, like the Toyotas and other cars? Like, jeez. But I definitely think it'll be better this year. The next gen vehicle's debut season, but the same couldn't be said for its short tracks or road courses. We've seen such great racing at the intermediates, Jacuzzi said, and then the road courses and the short tracks lack some of the action we expected. And the comments from the drivers about how good the brakes are and how much the grip the tire has. It's fantastic, but we do rely on, from our side, drivers making mistakes and things like that. All road courses will see this package used as well as most of the short tracks on the 2023 NASCAR Cup Series schedule. Excluded from this change are the 0.533 mile Bristol Motor Speedway and 1 mile Dover Motor Speedway, which I will be at this year, Lord willing. That Monster Mile, catch me out there. We wanted to keep it some kind of rule, like, okay, let's start with the mile and under. And obviously, Dover and Bristol would fall in that category, Jacuzzi explained. The one complication is this year where we have wet weather ovals, where we would consider running on rain tires. Let's just take a time to talk about that. If we could just get a way where they can run safely and we could actually watch races where the weather didn't depict it, I definitely think that would, for me as a new fan to watching NASCAR, I've always liked racing, always, had my favorites growing up, but I never really sat there and watched lap after lap, race after race until 3 seasons ago. So, it's definitely, I definitely would like to see the rain, like, not really take a part in where you, man, last week I was sitting there ready, man, I had everything. Check my Instagram, I was on that thing talking about we going green. Say, ha, got him. No, we not. They shut down the race. Now, granted, I was cool with the double header for the Xfinity racing after Cup Series at Auto Club, but I like the fact that I planned my day that it was going to be a Saturday of racing, and then a Sunday. I had to find out what I was going to do my Saturday. I was already laying around doing nothing. So, thanks. Rain, I guess. Okay, so basically, yes. So part of that is that they need to essentially have the car prepared like it's a road course car. So it'll have the lights in it. It's going to have the wiper and the mud flaps and everything. But how good is that wiper going to be? I know they used it before, but how good is it really? You know what I'm saying? So a couple of teams, and certainly the manufacturers, asked us not to include those tracks, Dover and Bristol, because they would essentially create a fourth aero package where they wouldn't have the flaps and wiper in that. And we said, okay, we had some decent events last year. We looked at our metrics and the stats were okay, so we went with initial conservative approach. Just take the industry's concerns into our minds and kind of wait and see. Certainly, I think it's a smash hit this year, and we see a big difference. We'll definitely have to look at it again. To ensure teams have adequate time to get up to speed, the Phoenix race weekend will now feature a 50-minute practice session on Friday, March 10th, as part of an extended practice weekend. The package debuts Sunday, March 12th in the United Reynolds Work United 500 at Phoenix Raceway, which will be 3:30 p.m. Eastern, Fox, MRN, and Sirius XM. Okay. So we didn't talk about that, y'all. We didn't got all that taken care of, right? So, now that we didn't talked about that, I just want to do a brief discussion. I didn't get a chance to. I was kind of sick about this whole ordeal. Which I felt like we were watching the Super Bowl on the Great American Race, Daytona 500. I felt like we was watching the Super Bowl as many commercials we had. I liked the race. I definitely liked the Xfinity. Truck was good. And I'm glad all the drivers from those races are doing better. As in, all the crashes. That was crazy. But also, to me, Daytona 500 to me was more exciting than Auto Club, which I think it should be. But I just Daytona 500 with the whole NASCAR 75 Diamond year. I just felt we could have cut down on some of the commercials, even the repetitive commercials of the Diamond year. I don't understand why that couldn't be side by side, but Toyota took the time to not play a commercial, but show us a Toyota car. It's still live racing. The Diamond Year commercial wasn't live racing. It was past racing. We're trying to watch Daytona 500. Wrecks are happening. All type of stuff is going on. Y'all had stuff going on during pivotal moments during the race. Y'all kept playing all these commercials like this is the daggone Super Bowl. This is not the Super Bowl. There's no timeouts. The only timeout is when it's a caution. But guess what? We didn't even get to see how the caution happened live, like we should. Now, I don't understand that. We have so many commercials going on. I understand it's a business, it's media. But what I'm saying is this is racing. This isn't basketball. This isn't football. What's the point of the stage breaks if we're just going to keep slapping on commercials? We got maybe what, 50% of racing? Maybe 60%? Let's move up to more like 70, 80% of racing. 20% commercials. And then, I totally understand the side by side. Still get your money. Still get your money. You got to keep the lights on, pay the bills. I get it. But do more to side by side. There should be no reason why we just keep seeing commercial. I'm like, dang, you can't even get into the groove. It's like you keep stopping. You start feeling the music. Hey, this is my jam, Slam. I'm finna get it in. Next thing you know, somebody done bumped the DJ booth. DJ mess it up. Dang, now you gotta get the rhythm back. It's almost like in racing. If there's always a caution, how can you get in a rhythm? But my thing is, you don't need to allow us to get into a rhythm. And my thing is, how are we supposed to, especially the new viewers, and I'm sure some of the ones who are decades and generations of watching NASCAR feel the same way of like, it's going to continue to be background noise if you just keep putting more and more commercials. That's all it's going to be. If you really want us to watch the race because of how long the laps are with some people, I'm okay with that because I'm understanding it. But I just feel we got to do better, NASCAR, please. The media, production, all of that. Do better at just giving us the race more than all these daggone commercials. Please. But we got racing this weekend coming up, y'all. Y'all excited for Vegas like I am? Hopefully. And can't wait to see what these guys do out there. So, I'm liking what I'm seeing from the Xfinity series. I'm like what I'm seeing from the Craftsman Truck series and definitely the Cup series. So, it's a lot of racers that I'm happy to see racing, getting new rides, getting chances to, and one's actually running in top 10s and top 20s. I'm definitely happy about that. And we'll talk more about it, but let me know what y'all think. Those who've been watching NASCAR from decades ago, the new viewers of watching NASCAR, what do you all think of this whole ordeal of this new downforce, the new mud flap and mufflers and wipers they're trying to do for racing in the rain? Do you think it's going to make racing better? Do you think the manufacturers eventually will be like, once they get the full package going on a real race, March 12th, you think it's really going to be like worth it? Or you think they're going to scrap it after this year? Let me know in the comments. Make sure y'all hit me up on all my socials. You can catch me on Twitch at Smack Like That. You can catch me here at Smack Like That. Catch me on TikTok, Smack Like That. And on Instagram, Smack Like That. Make sure y'all keep a go smack mentality no matter whatever y'all got going on in life. And I promise you gonna go far. Smack like that.